Hello and welcome to Nolo Time, episode 34. My name is Obed Velez, and with me, it's Marvel's super dude, Joel Young.
What's up, Nolo Time? What's good? Here on episode 34, man. I know you shout out the Marvel, and I know we were just talking before we went live on here, but you're wearing that Star Wars jacket, man, and I love Star Wars. We got plenty of Star Wars news to talk about today, and I love Star Wars so much, man. You can wear that jacket every episode, and I will never complain. I love Star Wars, man.
But on the downside, Joel, I think it's too much Star Wars. We'll see. We'll talk about it. But what's up, man? I know that the Super Bowl happened, and something really interesting happened during the Super Bowl with Netflix. So what's up with that, man?
Yeah. So as we're all watching the Super Bowl, and I had a feeling J.J. Abrams was going to put out, it was pretty much like, all but confirmed that we knew something was going to come out in regards to his Cloverfield property that he's been working on producing. And so we got the Cloverfield Paradox, like teaser trailer kind of thing during the Super Bowl, and it was in the middle part. So it was a really, really good trailer. I'm watching, like, because I love the Cloverfield movies. I've watched the first one, the second one, so obviously I'm going to see this one. And then, like, I didn't know it was going to be on Netflix. That was news to me. Maybe it had been out there. I didn't know it was going to be on Netflix. I thought that was pretty interesting. Then towards the end, excuse me, let me backtrack. So when that commercial trailer thing comes out, Cloverfield Paradox, it's announced. At the end, it says it's on Netflix, and it says that it's coming soon. Then, towards the end of the Super Bowl, we get another, and I'm watching, and I'm like, are they playing the same trailer again? Like, that doesn't usually happen during the Super Bowl. Clever Netflix, they go ahead and say, now streaming, now available online. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it. Got to jump in. After the Super Bowl's done, great game, cool. Click on my Netflix app, and I'm in.
Yeah, that was a brilliant piece of marketing that they did there, and everyone went crazy. Like the internet went crazy. Like people stopped watching the Super Bowl to go watch the movie. It was one of those things, and one of those instant gratification things, and people, it's one human nature in sort of that way. So a lot of people jumped into it. I heard mixed reviews. I heard people like it. Some other people say it's just dull. But what's your take on it?
Okay, so I watched it, and I don't have any issues with it at all. I think this, because you have to understand each of the Cloverfield movies that they've done, it's all about like perspective, right? And it's like the unknown. So like when you watch Cloverfield, and the only thing that the fans want is alien shots and like these, seeing the big aliens running around and all that stuff. That's not what this movie is. This movie is, from the way I interpret it, it's a simultaneously happening, like the same thing you see in Cloverfield Lane and you see happening in the original Cloverfield movie. What's happening in Cloverfield Paradox, it seems like all these events are simultaneously happening. The events in Cloverfield happening, I want to say in New York. Cloverfield Lane, I believe, is in California, if I'm not mistaken. And then what's happening in this movie is happening in space. So, like, it's kind of we're putting more pieces together of the puzzle as we watch this. And I like that. I don't like watching something and being like, I want to see this, I want to see that. Like, I've just sat there and just had a great time. Yes, it does feel a little bit dragged, but it's suspenseful. So I think that's what kept me enough intrigued and happy. And those movies are very suspenseful anyways, but like because you really don't understand. You're like, I don't know what's going on, but you just want to keep watching more. And that's what, for me at least, kept me intrigued enough. And then at the end, you get something that I'm not going to spoil it at all, but it definitely makes it all worth it at the end. And the way it ends, you're like, oh my gosh, when is the next one coming out? You're just ready for the next one. I cannot wait for the next Cloverfield. And that's how these movies are. They make you wanting more. And so I'm so happy. I think he had announced, I think, that they are going to do like at least a few more of these movies. And they should, because I really think they've got a lot of great material and a great universe that's being built with these Cloverfield movies. So I'm on board. I understand, to his own, you don't have to like this. But I think I think a lot of people were just upset that they didn't see more aliens or see more alien stuff in there. You know, that didn't bother me just because the characters were strong enough to carry it, and we got enough payoff at the end for our waiting.
Okay. I know I love the first one, like the original Cloverfield. I think it's I don't want to call it lightning in a bottle, but because that's not the right term, but it was definitely masterfully done in the way that it was always a secret, and it actually ended in a secret, and you don't know where this thing came from and why, and all of these things that were going on. So I absolutely love that movie. I never watched the second one, and I heard that this one was they there was some tease in an article a few weeks ago, and I believe the movie, like the actors that were in this movie did not know that this was a Cloverfield movie. To them, it was a movie I believe called The God Particle or something like that. And then at the end of then they redid, they did the post production on it, and then they let them know it's like, hey, by the way, this was a Cloverfield movie that you guys were on. So I think that's brilliant, and I think the marketing on it was brilliant. So we'll see if J.J. Abrams continues to do or produce more of these. Now that after episode 9's done, I'm sure he's going to have a few more new projects up his sleeve. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, hopefully the wait's not going to be that long, but I know Star Wars is going to take plenty of its time, so we'll see. But I have no doubts that this is going to have another one, and I think a lot of people, like you even said yourself, they stopped watching the Super Bowl to watch this. So I think it's got enough hype for people to watch it enough that they'll be able to put another one out there. But I tell you what, the quality of this thing, like when you watch it, this could have easily been in the movie theaters. Like some might argue it should have been in the movie theaters because it was the quality of how it's shot and the visual effects. It does not look like a cheap whatever. Like this looks like a blockbuster style film. The way it's shot, so I'll give it that much. But yeah, man, we'll see what happens with the next Cloverfield.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Not much on my side, man. I spend my free time playing more Dragon Ball. I love that game, man. That game's really, really good. I keep getting deep into it. I'm still chipping away at the story mode. I only have one section left, and then the rest of the time I just spend in training and trying to find my team. I haven't found that the team synergy on the characters. And there's 24 characters right now, 8 more characters coming in the near future. But I still have there's characters that I like, but then I can't seem to find synergy on the characters that I like. So I'm still experimenting and going into training mode and doing the combo practice and all that. So I'm still having a lot of fun with it. That game is fantastic. Not, like I said, not much on my side. No first weekend without Battlefront since Battlefront came out.
That's kind of good.
So it's kind of good. I'm taking a break for it. One thing though that I wanted to share with you guys, because I had mentioned it in the past, is that I had pre-ordered the CD of Final Fantasy NT. I got the game. I had it for 2 days. I didn't open it, and I returned it. Not because I'm a hater. There's 2 things that really threw me off, right? And that's why I didn't even open the game. There was no reviews at launch. Absolutely 0 reviews at launch. Whenever that happens, you need to get worried. It's kind of like the movies when DC movies come out, and it's like, oh, movie comes out in 2 days and there's no reviews out there. What's going on? It's not great. So something similar to that happened. I saw the first pro or major review came out today from GameSpot. They gave it a 5 out of 10. So I kind of felt that it's like, and I didn't return it because of no reviews. I returned it because I want to invest myself in Dragon Ball, and I want to invest myself in Street Fighter. I bought that season pass. I really want to get on it. So I'm clearing out time so I can dedicate myself into improving myself on those games to go competitive, even online or at a local level. So I'm trying to do that. I still don't have enough time. Let's see how that goes. But man, Dragon Ball, fantastic. I'm still in love with that game. Every time that I find a new animation, it's like, this is so good. This guys were able to pull this off, and it's flawless. And the story is wacky, and it's like watching the Dragon Ball Z movie, where it's like there's really nothing happening, but the fights are cool. So that's kind of like the story because it's for if you're a long time Dragon Ball Z fan, you know that we got the series here in the US, but there were I believe it's 13 original DBC movies that came out in the 90s while the series was going on. And we got, I believe, three of them. We got the Garlic Jr., we got The World's Strongest, and The Tree of Might. So we got those three movies dubbed in English, but then there was another 9 movies that we didn't get. So it's kind of like watching those movies where it's like there's nothing really of impact happening. It's just it's fine because there's nothing really happening, but the fights are cool. You get to fight. I was like, oh, there's like the big power ups and big fights, and something really cool happens at the end. But that's kind of like how the story mode is in this game. It's long. I mean, I'm like 10 hours in, I think, on the story mode, and I think I still have like 3 more left. So a 13-hour story mode for a fighting game is not bad at all. Like I said, this game has a very robust arcade mode. It has other modes that you can go into. So, I'm just doing arcade story mode because I want to unlock a character that you unlock after you finish it. So I still haven't gotten the season pass. I want to wait until they announced everything to get in on it. But Joel, I want to take the opportunity now that I'm talking about Dragon Ball and segue into our first bit of news. And it's that they announced the game's lineup for Evo. And it's shocking. It's shocking, Joel.
Let's dive into this.
Something prophetic happened in our last episode.
No load time.
So, so here's the list of games. It's Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, Tekken 7, Smash Bros. For Wii, Smash Bros. Melee, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, which that game's not even out yet. I believe it's coming out in April, if I'm not wrong. So it'll have 2 months out. It'll make it to Evo. Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2, Injustice 2, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z. So missing from that list, Joel,
is Marvel.
Marvel versus Capcom Infinite.
Yep. And it makes sense.
I don't know. I read today, I didn't look into it, but I saw a headline somewhere that Capcom Cup 2018 is not going to have Marvel. So maybe they're just gonna kill it off. What's really interesting on this one, Joel, is that Capcom had their shareholders review, like most of the companies had in this past couple of weeks. They had that, I believe, Monday, and they said that Capcom is refocusing their efforts into 2 things: esports and quality control. So if they're focusing on esports, why not launch Marvel as, an esports platform? But then at the same time, if they're focusing on quality control, that game has gaping flaws and
contradictory.
Exactly. It's hard to go back to that game after just even seeing Dragon Ball, because it's, like I said, it's built on the same engine, but it's such a superior product at the end of the day. And even the same goes for Street Fighter. They kind of like relaunched the game, and it's been like the fans and the community has accepted the change, and it's been doing great. So that's, kudos to Capcom. They actually came out and they fixed the product, and people are receiving it very well. So that's good for them. But at the same time, it has some of the problems. It has the characters have clipping, and Ken still looks like an idiot, and you still have all these problems that are still unaddressed. But then the only thing that I can think of, Joel, is that Capcom is going to relaunch Marvel sometime this year, maybe the end of the year, maybe beginning of 2019. Probably not. That would be too late. By then, the game's definitely going to be dead. I regret spending my $90 on that deluxe edition, man, because that I saw it at $40 at GameStop.
Wow,
it's ridiculous. And I think Target had the regular version for 30 and the deluxe for 50. When I went last time, I went to Target, and man, I was like, they really need to get on this thing, and they need to fix this game. They need to come up with a solution. They cannot let this game die. Look at Arxis. Going back to Arxis, now they have 3 games, right? Now there's a major balance update for Guilty Gear coming out, I believe, in March. Cross Battles coming out, and Dragon Ball pretty much took over. So Capcom's left with Street Fighter. And
yep.
Could they survive? Probably, because of the roster being very strong, and the DLC characters that are coming out for season 3 are all characters that fans are looking forward to. So that's probably going to give Street Fighter another year or year and a half. But I really don't know what the plans for Marvel is. I don't know what Capcom's thinking. I don't know if they're just gonna redo the graphics and do a full relaunch as a season 2. Hopefully that's what they'll do. It's unfortunate because the game is fun. The game is not it is, and I've said it before on the podcast, it is not a bad game. The game is fun, but it's unfortunate that it has so many problems. And when it comes to quality control, when it comes to music, the music in that game is not great, and the graphics are not great. So we'll see where this goes. But man, as Mr. Marvel, do you think Disney should step in and do something, or what do you think of this, man?
I think you nailed it when you said that. I hope that this is not the way this game goes out, as it stands today. So, like, I don't know if that's necessarily a Disney could step in and fix it kind of thing, and from a gaming side. I mean, I know they probably understand like the outcry of the business. They could step in and say like, "Look, you need to fix it." But I don't know if they'll know, how to identify the real problems. That I think Capcom needs to really grab this thing by the horns and figure it out. And especially like you said it yourself, the fact that they're now taking a more esports centric approach in the future of their business. You have the Street Fighters that's always going to be out there, and that's fantastic. I think that they can't take what they have right now and put that in that lineup. But if they can do something, whether it's in the sense of a season 2, although I'm not sure if I even feel that solution right now. But I do hope that there's some kind of way that they can fix the image and not let this be the last thing it's remembered by, just because, like you said, the game is fun. It looks bad, and it's not a good look from a PR standpoint as well. So I mean, it is fixable, but I don't know how much Capcom's going to want to put the resources into it. And that's what concerns me about it going out this way. I think it's more like as the fan side of me saying, like, I hope it doesn't go out this way. But from a business standpoint, if you have to move on, you have to move on. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. They can. The only way they can save this game is announce season 2 with X-Men characters, the characters that are missing, the fan favorite characters, and bring fan favorite characters from the Capcom side, because there's Capcom has, in my opinion, next to probably Nintendo, the most iconic um IPs. You got Mega Man, and you got Street Fighter, and you got Devil May Cry, and then you got all these franchises from Capcom. But then the choices they made and the characters they brought from their universe is like, why rehashes from MVC3 instead of just giving us something new and fresh? So, uh, you know, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, like I said, I just don't want this game to die that type of death. It's sad.
Yeah,
It's sad. I wanted it to do better, but it's unfortunate. So yeah.
definitely.
Yep. And the other gaming related piece of news that I want to talk about, Joe, real quick, is Kaz Hirai is retiring from Sony as the CEO. Of course, Kaz was the PlayStation guy, the original PlayStation guy back in the day. So he was the one that was in charge of Sony Computer Entertainment America, and then took over the entire PlayStation division. And then after that, he got promoted to CEO when Sony was faced with extreme financial problems, and they have to sell off, Vio, and they have to sell off some of the properties that were not being profitable. But Sony's profitable again. Kaz did a phenomenal job. He basically saved the entire company. A lot of people were speculating that Sony was going to become just a PlayStation company, and they were going to sell off all the other electronics divisions. But Kaz was able to save pretty much the what was left of the company. They had to cut Vio. They had to cut some of the things and some of the partnerships they had. And of course, we were just talking about this yesterday, about Sony having all these proprietary plugs and cards and all this stuff. So they had to, they have to move it in a different direction. They have to look into something different and being more compatible with the current electronics market. So Kaz is going to be leaving Sony, and the person that's going to be taking over is Kenichiro Yoshida, and he's the I believe executive director and CFO for Sony, and I believe he was handpicked by Kaz Hirai to be his successor. So I'm happy with this decision, and the best to Kaz, and we'll miss him. I mean, we haven't seen him at a PlayStation press conference in a few years since he took over the entire company, but we'll miss him. He's there at CES and other bigger events, but we'll definitely feel that he's no longer with the company, but he's still going to be like a senior Sherman, one of these like honor Japanese titles that Japanese companies keep. So
Yeah, he'll definitely be like an advisor still. Like they'll be able to pick up the phone and call him and be like, "Hey, like what do you think about this and that?" But it is very sad, just from the sense of like as a fan of everything that's happened with Sony, of how they've risen again. There was a time that it wasn't what it is today, and they still have some battles as a business, but I've always been impressed with the way he has handled himself and the way he's handled the business and the way he's handled the fans and the community. His fingerprints are very much felt all throughout Sony, particularly PlayStation, especially. You look at the success during the PlayStation 2 era, right before he stepped up as the CEO. He was doing a lot of great work on the Ratchet and Clanks and the Jack and Daxters, and his fingerprints, like I said, is throughout the company, and he's really helped us to really see PlayStation thrive, see Sony continue to thrive, and I think it's paid off with the success you see the company's had with their PlayStation 4 and with some of their other products. And I only wish him all the best, as he goes out, and I wish Sony continued the best. just because it's becoming a monopoly out there, Obed, and so it's great to see these companies, that continue to try and do something new, do something fresh, and continue to, survive and thrive. So, wishing him all the best as he goes out.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll definitely miss him. And Joe, let's jump into the craziness that was both the Super Bowl trailers and the news that followed in the next couple of days, and the news that we just got today. So, do you want to start with the Deadpool trailer, or do you want to start at the Avengers quick tease that they did at the Super Bowl?
Let's start with the Deadpool stuff, and then we could jump into some of the big stuff up there. Not that Deadpool's not big by any means, because we got news.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Deadpool today we got the Deadpool meets Cable trailer. It's classic Deadpool marketing, man. Like they don't play by the standard rules, and that's okay. And that's what's made the first movie especially do so well. Like it's completely taking classic Deadpool, playing parodies of different things that have happened. So, right within the beginning of the trailer, there's, you're seeing some really cool Cable action. Like the movie looks super intense. I'm like, this doesn't even feel like a Deadpool like style of like a movie, like when you're seeing the very beginning. And then of course the Deadpool stuff ensues when you see that the guy's got a green arm and he doesn't have any CGI done. And I love when Deadpool makes the statement about like, this is not that hard. This is not like we have to take a guy's mustache off. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
I laughed out loud when I heard that.
Because I know you haven't seen Justice League yet, but dude, CGI, man. But anyways, yeah. So I thought it was really fun, and the little Woody, and Buzz kind of like jokey kind of style thing.
Do you like the Thanos joke?
Yeah, that was like pretty.
I'll help you. I got the stones.
Oh my goodness! This guy is very aware of what the character is, and very aware of the all the different stuff that fans think and how they view this character. And I mean it was a very interesting, not expected trailer, but when it comes to Deadpool, don't expect anything. just know it's gonna be something very interesting. The last time we had something was the Bob Ross thing that had come out, right?
That was really funny. Yeah.
We got some more footage this time towards the end. I mean this movie's coming, and I'm gonna hold back from saying something because it's gonna actually connect to another story that we're gonna go into a little bit later on. But I think this movie's gonna do well. That's what I'll say.
It definitely looks like they definitely stepped up with the budget on this one. It looks like they're really putting money on it. I saw a shot that I can't remember seeing it in the trailer, but I did see a picture of the team up, and now there's speculation that that's going to be X-Force, and then they're going to spin off X-Force out of this movie, but we'll see how that goes with the whole Disney Fox thing going on. But it looked good, man. It looked funny, and looks like it's going to have a lot of action. We'll see how it goes. The first one was surprisingly good. That I really enjoyed that movie quite a bit. So we'll see how this one goes. I know that May is shaping up to be an extremely packed month, and we got to be selective. At least I gotta be. Joe's still living the bachelor life. He don't care.
Right. That's right, man. I'm still enjoying that. But I'm not sure if I'll even be able to see this movie in theaters. I probably won't, come to think about it. I didn't see the last one in theaters either. Probably be on my couch with the remote watching it. But I mean, like, I think it's gonna be a lot of money that's gonna come into this movie because of how much popularity of the character. I mean, let's be real, Obed. This is another prime example of a character that people had no clue about or was not at all like talked about in the upper tier superheroes until after this movie came out. brought a lot more awareness. And it's great that Rob Liefeld is around to be able to see this happen too.
Yeah. Yeah, this was one of those things. It's like, who's this Deadpool? Is that Deathstroke? No, Deadpool. Oh, okay. Well, it's not. It's a parody of Deathstroke, sorta, but at the same time, it's just parodying a bunch of other things. Not only Deathstroke. Yeah, interesting stuff with Deadpool. Yeah, actually, I still have Blu-ray still around here, but yeah, that movie was surprisingly good, really, really funny. Not for everyone. I think it's gonna be it may, and we're probably gonna talk about this a little bit later, but it wouldn't surprise me that this movie does better than Solo.
That's where I was gonna go into, and we'll get into that. But
Okay.
definitely that was the exact place I was gonna go into.
Yep.
So that's
Potentially. Potentially, it could do better, and this is an R-rated movie, so it depends. I mean, we'll talk about it in a couple of minutes, but Joe, Avengers, 30 seconds. What do you think?
Oh my gosh. Where do you begin with something that is just a mashup of epicness? That's the only way I can describe it. It is a mashup of epicness. Like, I have watched the first Avengers trailer infinite times, it feels like. And now this, I have all that I need. I'm not watching any more stuff. Like, if there's another new commercial or clip, I have what I need from this. They tease. I love this new Spider-Man suit. Like, you get a nice look of it in the other trailer, but it's cool like to see him without the mask and like how well they've done the CGI of that Iron Spider kind of suit. I love the whole Captain America's got that shield that comes out and retracting kind of thing. I know that shield had leaked, I think last week, if I'm not mistaken, and it leaked through a toy, which is classic. These toys leak all this stuff, but like people were like, "Oh, it's an ugly thing, and we want the real thing," and all that. Context, like it's the same thing with the Captain Marvel thing. Okay, we don't know, like, and then you finally see what's happening here, and I'm like, I'm not sold that that's going to be the shield you see for the rest of the movie, especially with some of the pictures that leaked online for the next movie. Like don't get too excited. I don't have an issue with it.
Some of the pictures that got leaked for the next movie, and some of the Sebastian Stan stuff that got out there, maybe on purpose. So, but yeah, and then you just mentioned Captain Marvel, and I mentioned this to you about there's someone behind Captain when Captain and I believe Vision and Black Widow are the camera, right? Yeah. And there's someone behind Captain, and what do you see, Joe?
Well, to me it looks like it is Captain Marvel, because you see the classic Captain Marvel blue, yellow, and then red, and so that's like, okay, maybe my eyes are playing games on me. Maybe we're looking too far into this, but it looks extremely convincing. The classic Captain Marvel look right behind. Who knows what it is, but I'm telling you, man, like when you did that to me and I pulled it up and I've zoomed in and I've looked, getting all nerdy, trying to analyze the costume details and all this stuff. No, I really think that is, I think you're right. I think it is Captain Marvel right behind. And this is the thing, like I just described to you, it's the same original costume colors in the pictures that we saw that had come out that we had talked about. I forget which episode was the last week.
About 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, a few episodes ago. So like when we talked about it, we had mentioned how like the controversy behind it was that it was this green color and people didn't like that. Maybe it was for green screen. I don't know. Or maybe it was a flashback sequence, or maybe she's going to get her suit in this movie. This is why we say context. Don't get too excited. Because when we see it, when Marvel puts it out with the way Marvel does, not these leaked shots, when we get a Disney Marvel thing out there, it's going to be just right, just perfect. So yeah, man, I am all in for this movie. And Thanos, the CGI, like on that last scene where he's the close up of his face just for a second,
it looks a lot better.
Oh, it looks way better. He doesn't look pink anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't look pink anymore. Like it's not. I don't want to say leaps and bounds, but it's considerably better than the first Avengers movie when he showed up at the end of the movie. So, and Joel, there's what you can clearly see is the bleeding edge armor on Iron Man. So that's in the movie. That really cool shot with Doctor Strange and Iron Man, when Doctor Strange is doing the glyph and Iron Man grabs it. Very cool.
Which I was gonna reference that. I'm glad you brought that up because like that's the coolest thing, seeing those two guys combo together. Just because if you know in the comics, Iron Man is not a believer in magic. He doesn't believe in it at all. And obviously Doctor Strange is all the Sorcerer Supreme magic, right? Like that's why you see it in Age of Ultron. Like Iron Man believes he can pick up Mjolnir because he's like, this is science. Like I could figure this out. I could pick this thing up. This ain't no magic trick, right? Same. So like seeing him team up with Strange, I'm sure he's gonna try and outwit. Like I could figure this out. Like this ain't no magic, whatever, right? But yeah, I love it. I love that combo in the trailer.
Yeah, it's gonna be the battle of wits on those two. It's gonna be good.
Maybe the Sorcerer Supreme will send him on a big acid trip, like the ancient one did. Doctor Strange. I'm like, okay, there's a multiverse.
Yeah, that comes to realize it. But yeah, 30 seconds, real short, and like you said, I don't need anything else. Just leave it there. Yep,
we're done. We're good.
Yeah, and Joel, the one that has sort of a tail to it. Just before we jump into that one, just a quick joke. What do you think of that Dwayne Johnson movie?
Okay, this movie looks like it can give you an anxiety attack, and then I'm gonna let you say it looks like it's another movie without the title of that movie. Yeah. What is that movie, Obed? That seems very obvious that it is, but it isn't.
So I was waiting for I saw the trailer and I saw this like, oh wait, this looks a lot like and so I was waiting for the end of the trailer for the title, and it's like I was waiting for the title to be not Die Hard because it's just a total Die Hard ripoff.
Totally, man. The Rock is doing these movies. He's got 2 movies coming out this year. He's got the Rampage, and I forget the names. This Tower movie,
Skyscraper.
Yeah. So he's just becoming the popcorn flick summer movies, huh?
I know, man. He's making it big, man. He's apparently he's really nice to work with because everyone keeps giving him work. You know,
true.
That's and I mean that's a good thing. Like
absolutely,
like I've said before, being nice goes a long way. So maybe it's working for him. The one other funny thing that I saw is that I don't know if you've seen the poster where he's like jumping over like a 40-foot gap trying to get back into the building, and there's like flames coming in the bottom of the building. So I saw people are analyzing the poster. It's like, oh, that's humanly impossible to make that jump, and he's and he's jumping, and then there's graphs going. I was like, well, if you do like average human speed and doing this distance and this jump, this is the part where he starts falling down. And like, where best case scenario was like he actually makes it to the flames and burns to death in there, but he would not make the jump.
Oh my gosh, so
it was really
true,
funny.
Man.
It was really funny, but I mean, man, like a car flew in Fast and the Furious a couple of movies ago, so I don't know.
And like, I know we're not even gonna go into this, but Mission Impossible, a man was holding on to a plane, and that was real shot, yeah. You know, flying. So I don't know what's impossible these days, man.
I know, but Joe, the one that we really want to talk about is Solo. So they released a 1-minute teaser during Super Bowl Sunday, which was entertaining. I like the tone. I liked some of the shots. They didn't show too much. They showed enough where, you know, to keep you interested. But then on Monday, the actual trailer dropped, and it's around on 1:45. I was really on the fence with this movie. I'm still cautiously optimistic about the movie. My I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go see it. So I'm sold in that regards. But I'm still a bit worried because I did hear some rumors today. I was listening to another podcast and someone was saying that not only they have to do extensive reshoots and basically erase most of the work that Lord Miller had done, but I heard that the actor that's playing Solo, I'm not sure what his name is. I heard he's not good, and that has me concerned. Um, who can save this movie? Probably Childish Landino can save it. Which he looks great, by the way. The shots with the Falcon look fantastic. Like seeing the interior of the Falcon as a new ship, and seeing the original color scheme, which I saw an article. I can't believe I can't remember who was saying who was the article was from. I don't know if it was BuzzFeed or someone, but they were saying that it's like, oh, this oh, Cinema Blend. It was like the paint scheme on the Falcon is a plot hole, and it's like, no, it's not, because that's the same color scheme that you saw in Revenge of the Sith when you see the Falcon flying into Coruscant. I don't know if you guys knew that, but there's the Falcon flying into Coruscant, and it has the same paint scheme that you see in that movie. So clearly, that's the original paint scheme. My line of thought is that after Han won it from Lando, he repainted it just so Lando wouldn't find him, and that could be it. So, but should we see the movie? It looks like it's gonna have okay action. And like I've mentioned before, there seemed to be a dynamic between Han and the Empire, which was why when Obi-Wan saw him in the cantina in Mos Eisley, he then asked for more money because he knew what's up. So we saw a couple of things, but Joel, I think you're still sort of mixed on this movie, as a lot of people are. So what do you think?
Yeah, so we talked about this trailer coming out, and I was like, I'm gonna save this for the podcast, but I have to be completely honest with you. This Both trailers don't make me any more excited for the movie. And it's not because they're bad. The trailers are good. It's Disney marketing. They're fine. They're good. They're going to show us the good things. But I think this is the thing about Star Wars fans. They see this trailer. They say the trailer's good. I'm talking about the Monday trailer. The trailer's good, so therefore the movie's good. That's too far of a jump to make. Too far of a leap. That's premature. I'm not going to say that the movie's good now suddenly, or I'm on board with the movie simply because of this. I think that's just too premature of a thing to do. I've seen enough of these kinds of movies where the trailers were nice and then the movies were trash. The thing that you pointed out was the thing about the actor. I had heard rumors. I don't know how true this is, and I think I had mentioned this on the podcast before. It had gone to the place with the main actor that they actually had to hire an acting coach to be on set with him in between takes to actually help him act better.
Oh, no way,
dude. That's an issue if that's the case. I'm not gonna be too hard on the guy because I saw him in Hail Caesar. I thought he was very good in that movie. Maybe one of the better characters in the whole movie. But this is Han Solo we're talking about. One of the most, if not the most, like it's gotta be in your top 3, maybe top 5, maybe top 3 of all time Star Wars characters. His name carries weight, which is why Disney's taking the risk of literally making an entire movie off of his character. Just for that, you're gonna have the nostalgia and the new people come in and watch this movie. I am not going to be the kind of person that's going to judge him because he's not Harrison Ford. I think that's unfair to the actor.
Absolutely.
Harrison Ford is amazing. Everything he's done I've liked. Even like the most like movies, the movies that are not even like the Indiana Jones. He did this I forget this name of this movie where like he's saying becoming. I forget he did one of these movies where like he's got like a disability or whatever. Like he can't even say the word like Cheerio or something. It's like this guy is like phenomenal of an actor. Okay, even the work he did in Force Awakens was fine.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just saying like this actor has to do it the way he has to do it. He can't be trying to be Harrison Ford, and we have to get past that as fans. However, his voice did bother me. We didn't get much of his character speaking, and this is a Joel thing. This is not like I know that's probably not popular opinion, but I'll say it here on the podcast. I didn't care for the voice. I know that's who he is, but I wish they could have done maybe a little bit of something to it because it just didn't. Especially like when he says especially in the second one, in the second trailer, they repeat the same line that's said in the first one that's shown during the Super Bowl, which didn't bother me in the Super Bowl. And when I heard it in the second trailer, it bothered me just a little bit. Is when he says the line like, "I want to be a pilot, best in the galaxy," and I'm like, it's a little on the nose. It reminds me a little.
That line on the one for the Super Bowl actually, I think, came out pretty good, and he sounded like he had he was the trying to be the not Harrison Ford kind of thing. And it was working pretty good, but then on the second one, there was some parts of it that were very inconsistent.
In the second part, the best way I could describe it is it reminded me about the way the winking that we would have like in the Phantom Menace, where like Anakin Skywalker is like, I'm gonna be a pilot, like that kind of, like wink, wink, like a little bit too much on the nose kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I understand that that's going to be probably. It seems to me like that's probably going to be the scene. Like they took the language of the scene that's shown in the first Super Bowl shot, so that's fine. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, whatever. But I don't be surprised if when you watch the movie, you hear people say like he didn't even like there wasn't a personality enough of Han Solo. I think the most Han Solo we got to me was the end of the trailer. The official one, when Kira is speaking to him and she's basically saying like, you know who you are, like I know who you are, and like he's like, and what is that, like, and he has that face of like like charming, but then quickly he gets like serious because he knows he's gonna say, if we all know it, you're a scoundrel, right? Like that line's gonna be exactly what she's gonna call him, right?
Yeah.
But like exactly. He had that like Harrison Ford kind of like. Not Harrison Ford, but Han Solo kind of charm, and then like quickly got like, oh snap, like she's probably gonna call me a scoundrel. But there's a lot of stuff in this trailer that makes me interested in the movie. I'm still gonna go for it. Lando looks phenomenal. That's the one thing I think out of this whole thing that's like, wow, like I mean, he didn't even say anything, and like he looks like Lando, and looks like he has the charm.
I know.
You see, you go ahead.
No, yeah. There's like he didn't have any lines on the trailer, and like I said, he's probably going to be the saving grace of this movie.
I agree. I can't agree more. And the thing, like, I think the stuff that can make this movie huge is that they deliver on these really powerful scenes. It looks to me like that one scene when the picture came on Entertainment Weekly as well, where he's standing on the side there and there's like a room. I think that's the Sabacc game, the famous game that where Han Solo wittingly is able to actually get the Millennium Falcon from Lando. I think that might be the big scene at the Sabacc game that we know about in Star Wars. I think we're going to see that there. They didn't show anything of the Kessel Run. Happy about that. That's fantastic. That 12 parasec boom. That scene I don't need to see. We had talked about it before on the podcast. It's perfectly fine. There is another one of the characters that's with him. That they show that little group kind of clan that he's working together with. One of the ladies on there, I think she could be a character from the Legends books. I know that they cherry picked from the Legends, but it has been said that like in the Legends there was this one specific character that she comes out later on during during the original trilogy timeline, where she comes back and says like, I'm Mrs. Solo, I'm married to Han Solo, even though she never was. We ended up finding out later on like it was a whole hoax or whatever, but it was because she worked with Han Solo during his bounty days, doing stuff for money. So she was just trying to use that to kind of come back into the picture. maybe that will be that character exposed. There's a lot of little stuff that makes me as a Star Wars fan get really excited and antsy to see further deeper into the Star Wars mythology. So I'm gonna go see this movie, but I have a lot of hesitations. The trailers didn't do it for me in the sense of like, oh my goodness, this movie looks great, I'm in. I already was gonna see the movie. This just gave me a little bit more flavor to it, but at the same time, didn't give me enough flavor of Han Solo, the character, that I'm actually completely over my feelings of apprehension and just this apprehension, just staying away from it. We'll see. I mean, I could be reading too much into it, but it's just a trailer. 2 minutes.
Yep. Like I said, cautiously optimistic. So we'll see how this one goes. But right after that happened, and right the next day, we got some huge news that Star Wars is the gift that keeps on giving, whether you like it or not. And they've announced that the show creators for the Game of Thrones are going to be in charge of a new Star Wars movie series, and it's speculation is that this is the series that would take part in between the Rian Johnson trilogy. So this is going to be like the Rogue One and the Solo to whatever Rian Johnson's working on. And again, this is going to be written by the creators of the Game of Thrones series. Now, these guys are trigger happy. They like to kill off characters, of course. That doesn't play very well with the Star Wars fans. So they need to be very, very cautious on whatever they do, whatever it is, even if it's characters that don't matter. They need to be very, very cautious on how to do it. I think Rogue One did it in a very good way, where the characters had weight, but at the same time, because we all knew where this was going, all the characters were none of the characters from Rogue One didn't make it. So they need to be very, very cautious. They need to be very receptive with the fans, and they need to make sure that they it's not that like the fans need to dictate what these guys need to do, but at the same time they need to be mindful of the pitfalls of working on a Star Wars property. So yeah, we have pretty much confirmed Star Wars for the next 8 years, most likely, Joel. So one a year. Disney's definitely taking a page from Marvel, and of course Marvel, because of the amount of characters and what the MCU's final goal is very different from Star Wars. We see multiple movies a year, but Star Wars, it looks like we're going to get one a year. And I heard today that Disney is actively working on a Star Wars series for whatever their streaming service will be. So we'll see where this goes. I'm gonna before you jump in, Joel. My concern is that me as a Star Wars fan, it's I'm afraid that I'm gonna get fatigued, and I'm afraid that I'm gonna get tired of it. And I don't want to, because I love Star Wars so much. It's my favorite movie franchise of all time. It's something that shaped my childhood when back with the original trilogies, and then adulthood. Like this movie's franchise, like even the prequels are very important to me. So I don't want this to be trivialized. I want them to be an event, like when Phantom Menace came out. Granted, it wasn't a great movie, but it was an event. It's like, man, I'm gonna go see Star Wars since it's been 17 years since the last Star Wars movie. So I'm really, really excited to go see Star Wars, even if it's a mediocre movie. But I was fine back then. But now I know that Disney has to higher standards, and they're not gonna make some of the mistakes that were made in the past. But at the same time, I don't want to get tired. I don't want to get fatigued, and they need to find a way to create synergy between um, the Ryan Johnson movies and the movies that this team's going to be working on, and keep it fresh enough for me. And when I say me, is I think I'm collectively speaking uh, as Star Wars fans, to just keep us engaged. And that's the problem. If you don't keep it fresh, if you don't keep it good, you're gonna get disengaged fans, and it's back to the drawing board. And I really don't want to see that. So go ahead, Joe. Just tell us what you think about this one.
Oh boy, I am very excited about this. I think this is the kind of news that we need to hear. Here's the reason why. When it comes to properties like Star Wars, they can't use the same formula as Marvel, where it's like, okay, we gotta tell this story and tell this story and tell that story. I'm okay. I'm happy with what we got with Rogue One. You see my apprehension towards the Han Solo. There's another one that's supposed to be on the way. I believe that's the Obi-Wan movie that's in the works, which we haven't heard much more about. I think when it comes to Star Wars, the only way to keep these movies relevant, keep the franchise strong, is that they take enough time in advance to write the stories, to hash out what these things are going to be, to figure out what direction they want to go. So them announcing today, not today, but this week, I should say, that they're bringing these guys on, they're producing and they're writing. They're not directing.
Nope.
They are producing and writing this script for this next trilogy. They're putting together a floor plan, basically, for these movies. So when the time is right, Kathleen can say this director comes in and is now going to be making this movie or making that movie or maybe all three of these movies. And that's what I like about it, because so the rumors I had heard is that we won't see the first one of this until maybe 2020. So they're giving themselves 2 years to put together some strong formula for this new trilogy. They're not rushing it. And I think that they're being proactive is the way I look at it. And that's why I have enough positive hope in what this new trilogy is going to be. I don't know. I still believe now, knowing that this is separate from the Ryan Johnson thing, that this is their own thing. One of these things, and I'm praying it's not the TV show, I'm praying it's one or the other, one of these movie trilogies is going to be the Old Republic. I am praying that it's one of these. And it would make so much sense if it was these guys doing it, just because of the fact that when you're talking about death, if you're talking about the Old Republic, you're going to see a whole lot of death happening.
Yeah, that would be the only way. Yeah.
You know, like basically any of those Jedis have to be wiped out, and then there has to be the last Sith, Darth Bane, still living. The originator of there can only be two. There can only be two. You know, there can only be one. You know, the one apprentice thing. Like he's the one who created that. He actually kills all the Sith just to get to that place where there can only be one. So like I think this could be the place they can do it, but I don't know. But I'm really hoping that that's the case. But yeah, I totally hear where you're coming from about hoping that we don't get over fatigued. Hopefully, we don't get overexposure to this. There's so much Star Wars. There's so much story to be told. There's so much mythology and rich source material to pull from. Don't rush it. Take your time. It's interesting to know that when it's referred to in this in the press release, when they put it out there, they refer to this as its own separate trilogy, separate from the Ryan Johnson trilogy, but they also say separate from the Skywalker saga. I don't know how to interpret that. Does that mean that they're going to continue the Skywalker saga at some point? Does that mean that the Skywalker saga is completely going to end with this? Because it feels like Skywalker saga, you know, spoiler alert, ended with The Last Jedi. It feels that way after what happened, but we'll see, right? There might be some lineage there. We'll see. I'm still not sure. Anyway, there still is technically one alive, but yeah. But that's a whole other conversation to be had. But I'm just saying, like, will they continue the Skywalker saga at some point? I don't know, but it seems like they're moving away and making these separate stories. But I'm optimistic that it's okay because they're taking time out in advance and they're not just saying, okay, we're making this thing that's going to come out next year. You know, that they're planning out.
If Disney is smart, right? There's absolutely no question that these guys are great storytellers, and they're definitely able to write, and they're that they got chops and they proved it. That's that's not what concerns me. But if Disney wants to be smart about this, right, and wants to keep me excited, for example, I would give the first movie that this guy's produce or write to Guillermo del Toro.
Nice.
I would give him the first one, because I'm confident that he can deliver a masterpiece. He's gonna be, it's proving that he can direct action, and he can direct drama, and he can direct horror, and he can direct giant robots. So he's done everything. He's the one that I would say, here you go. This is what we've come up with. Have some input. Direct the movie. And if Disney does that, then okay, I'm in. No questions asked. I'm in. Done. It's like I'm not even worried about this movie. I'm not even fatigued anymore. Just getting him would be like a can of Rockstar. So it would
It's been rumored before too, so it may not be that far.
And he made it public that he wanted to do it. He's like, "Hey, Disney, I want to direct a Star Wars movie." So I'd say that if Disney does that, if they're able to come up with some agreement and they're able to get Del Toro in, I'm in, and no questions asked. If they're gonna keep looking for, a jack of all trades like Ron Howard, whereas like he's competent but he is not fantastic, then I'm worried. But when you have someone that like Del Toro, where he's a visionary and he is more into practical effects, and he writes well, the interactions that he does with human and non-human characters on his movies are fantastic. Like, just go watch Hellboy. Go watch Pacific Rim.
Go watch Shape of Water. It's nominated.
Yeah. I mean, so that would be, to me, that would be the no-brainer. But I just don't want to get tired of Star Wars. Star Wars is something very important to me. So let's keep the ball rolling. Hopefully Solo's going to be all right. If Solo turns out to be a good movie, even if the actor's not great, then I'll be happy, because we have a year and a half break from there, right? Is it summer 2019 for episode 9?
No, episode 9 is Christmas 2019.
Okay, so we'll have a year and a half for a break, and I think we can recoup after that. So, but yeah, we'll see where this goes, and then jumping into the last bit of movie news that came out today, Joel. Unexpectedly, we're getting a Venom trailer tomorrow.
Yeah, all new Venom trailers. So please, guys, next week, I know we're gonna have an in-depth conversation about it, because the poster came out, and I mean, all it is basically the eyes and the look.
Yeah.
Venom. I mean, I can't say anything more than that. But I like it. I mean, I can't. It's what it is, right? Like it is Venom, like you said.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to finally feast my eyes on what is this movie, because we have seen nothing but some set pictures that show nothing, and Tom Hardy speaking to Brazil Comic-Con. So I don't know what to expect of this movie, man. But we'll see.
Yep. I don't think we're gonna see a full shot of Venom. For sure. We're going to get glimpses, and we're going to get glimpses of Carnage. So they need to keep me excited. I'm excited for this movie, actually. I'm pretty excited for it. Like, I know that Spider-Man is a huge deal for you. Um, I'm not saying that Venom is a huge deal for me, but I like the character quite a bit, and I like Tom Hardy as an actor a lot. So I'm excited for it. Again, Sony doesn't have the best reputation when it comes to producing the superhero movies, but we'll see. I mean, they were involved with Homecoming to a certain degree, and it turned out good. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's all I have, Joel. I don't know if you got anything else.
No, that's all I got too, except to say again, we got next week's going to be a big episode because remember, we've got Venom coming. I know there's some other stuff that might be coming down the line that I've heard some rumors about. So every episode just keeps getting more and more juicy. This one was a pretty action-packed filled stuff, but I want to make sure to give you guys now where you can stay connected and following us because we're so glad to see the growth in our followers and our listeners. And we just want to say thank you. Just doesn't go unnoticed. We appreciate you guys. We want to make sure you guys stay connected with us by following us on social media, by giving us a follow at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. If you follow us on those social medias, you'll see when we post our latest episodes and sometimes some little news here in between. On top of that, we also ask if you're listening to the podcast version of this, go ahead and throw us a subscription on iTunes or Google Play. If you're subscribed on iTunes, if you could please throw a review for us, that really helps us out. Share the podcast with other people, your friends, your family. And then if you are on YouTube, also subscribe to this channel. Throw a like, drop us a comment. Again, share it with others. We really appreciate it, and we're thankful. Shoot us an email if you have any questions, comments, any follow-up feedback that you want to throw to us. We're always open to that. We might even talk about it here on the show. So shoot us an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. Thank you so much, guys, for this great episode.
Yeah. Thank you, guys, and we will see you next week.